If you're self-aware but still feel stuck, you can understand your patterns, you can name your trauma responses, you've done the inner work, and yet your life isn't moving. If the phrase doing the work makes you feel tired right now, if self improvement feels heavy instead of liberating, maybe that's not failure. That can be a signal. So please stay till the end of this video because I'm going to give you specific grounded practices to move out of insight and into real integration. There's a quiet trap inside the personal development and the healing world, and it doesn't look like avoidance. It actually looks like maturity and like wisdom, but it can get to feel exhausting. And it's called awareness without integration. This is where self awareness starts to turn into rumination, and the healing process becomes this endless work that you could never clock out of. And you're constantly observing yourself and watching yourself and explaining yourself and tracking yourself, but you're not leading yourself. So today we're going to talk about why insight doesn't change behavior, why doing the work eventually can burn out people, and what actually restores self-trust and personal authority. Personally, this shows up as a quiet dissatisfaction. And I hear clients say, I understand myself, but I don't take action. I don't make decisions. I've healed so much, but nothing feels like I've learned it in my body. I know what I need to do, but I still don't move. Globally, we are also going through this authority collapse. People don't trust systems, they don't trust institutions, and many don't trust themselves. So, in turning inwards, they overanalyze and they go deeper into reflection and reflection and reflect harder. And when we start doing this self analyzing without integration, eventually life will give us experiences where what hasn't been integrated will just rise to the surface and expose itself in a way that makes us freeze or get paralyzed unless we have been practicing self-authorship. Let me give you an example. There was a time in my life where I could just explain everything about myself, my childhood traumas and my attachment patterns and my nervous system responses and the strategies of my ego. I had language for all of it, and yet my body was exhausted and my life just wasn't changing, and decision making felt heavy, and it felt like something I would just delay forever. And it wasn't because I lacked awareness, I had a lot of it, but I lacked internal authority. I was observing myself instead of leading myself, and I see this constantly in my work. I remember one client say, I can name every pattern, but I don't trust myself to choose anything right now. And that sentence really says everything. Highly conscious people don't need more insight. They need integration. They need self action. They need to feel like they're the authority in their lives. Here's what most growth spaces don't say clearly enough. Insight does not equal integration. Understanding isn't transformation. Integration is not understanding your patterns. Integration is when your body, your calendar, your decisions, everything is in alignment with your new choices. You behave differently. Self-awareness, although is the first necessary step, is passive, but self-authority is active. Self-awareness can ask, why am I like this? But authority is saying, what am I choosing now? If we work on integrating our trauma without taking responsibility, this will keep us circling back to the same experience. Because when we try to heal without bringing ourselves into the present through new actions and validation for how we are changing, we stay stuck in old patterns. And guess what? Your nervous system doesn't reorganize through understanding and analysis. It reorganizes through choice, through repetition, through embodied experience. This is where burnout sneaks in. At some point, healing turns into constant self-monitoring and self-analyzing and over-analyzing and trying to fix yourself all the time, trying to go to the next experience, the next retreat. But that's not freedom. You're still trying to fix yourself. That is what can be called control dressed up as consciousness or having a spiritual ego, right? The question right now is, are you able to choose without having full certainty? Can you trust yourself to make a decision without overthinking it or having the whole plan? I want to give you actual practices. These are not concepts. This is embodied work. I want you to think about this as the authority pivot. And whenever you catch yourself overanalyzing, I want you to pause and ask, What decision am I avoiding now? Instead of like, why am I like this? What trauma is this? Just ask yourself, what choice do I want to make right now? Then choose the smallest version of that decision. See, authority is rebuilt through micro shifts, micro choices, not perfection. Second step is regulate before you make a decision. Before making any decision and being in your mind, just hold yourself for a minute. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly and inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. This will regulate your nervous system, and do that 10 to 15 times. And remember that you're not doing this to feel better. You're stabilizing your nervous system so that choices become more available to you. The third is to exit rumination through the body. Just set 5 minutes and do something with your body. Go out for a slow walk. Gentle shaking is so good. You want to press your feet firmly into the ground and feel sensorially, feel the sensation without trying to name what's happening. Just keep dropping into the sensation. So here's one small practice to get you out of self-awareness and into self-authority. Choose one small thing you've been postponing and stop analyzing it. Stop trying to make it perfect. Just choose it. Choose the tiny step, because self-awareness allows us to open the door, but it's through self-authority that we can walk through that door. If this resonates with you, this is the foundation for the work that I guide people through. This isn't about more healing. It's about living from what you know in the inside that you are. This is an invitation to lead differently. I hope to see you soon. If this supported you in any way, please subscribe so we can keep having these conversations.